Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Once again, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the distinguished panel members who have joined us today, and to all the participants who have, come in on a pretty dull day here at Bangalore to understand what cluster development and funding support is available from the government of India. Uh, I hope you're all able to hear me. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. The topic, as you all of you know, is cluster development and funding support by the government of India. We have a stellar panel over here who have not only been part of the cluster development program right from the scratch to seeing the fruits of these programs. So I'm hoping that it is going to be not just an informative session, but an exciting session as well for all of us to understand what initiatives are being done in terms of cluster development. Not just the benefits of cluster development, but also some of the kind of pitfalls that these people have seen, and what are the things that have to be avoided in future in terms of developing these clusters, and also some of the examples of how successful clusters have come up and how they are able to aid in the entire MSME sector. Firstly, I would introduce myself. I am Guru Prasad Bangle, and I am the CTO at Solution Buggy. This particular panel discussion is part of the series of webinars that Solution Buggy is organizing as a technology partner to the Vision Karnataka Foundation, who are the execution arm for UNDP, for all the projects that UNDP is taking up in the MSME sector in Karnataka. To just give a one-line introduction of what Solution Buggy is, it's a technology platform to connect manufacturing industries with experts across India. We have about 60,000 industries and about 8,000 experts, and we have completed about 1,500 projects in the sector. Now, getting on to the stellar panel that we have today, right from from the private sector as well as from the public sector. So first of all, we have Mr. Gopinath Rao, who is from the MSME Development Institute, which is part of the Ministry of MSME. Next, we have Mr. Ramesh Dharmaji, who is the former Chief General Manager at SIDBI. SIDBI has been, a part and parcel of the entire MSME, kind of infrastructure for India. And Ms. Anita Pradeep, who is the MSME head at the Vision Karnataka Foundation. In fact, something very exciting, that we are trying to do also during the part of the program is Ms. Anita is today at Bellary, where she's, part of the validation of a cluster program. So we are trying to see if she can, give a live demo of how the cluster is working and what are the kind of things that has been done. And then we have Mr. Jagdish, who is the CEO and Chief Advisor at TechSoc. And finally, we have Mr. Kishore Jagirdar, who is the Chairman and MD of Infopace Management Private Limited. Yeah, Infopace Management Private Limited, and also the founder of Vision Karnataka Foundation.
Kabban Petad one word. ಅವ್ರು ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಬೇರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಫೋನಿಗೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು.
Sorry. So with this kind of a stellar, panel that we have today, I would like to, start off with the panel discussion. So what exactly is a cluster is what some of the people have in their mind, right? So on a very basic level, cluster is a group of enterprises right, that are located in adjacent areas and producing same or similar products or services. So that is, the layman's understanding of what a cluster is. So with that brief introduction, I would like to jump in right into the panel and, have the first question. Mr. Gopinath? Hello? Yeah, Mr. Gopinath? Hello? Yeah. Mr. Gopinath, are you able to hear us? I guess Mr. Gopinath is having some difficulty in joining in. Mr. Jagdish, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I am able to listen. Yep.
Okay, great. Meanwhile, when Mr. Gopinath is joining in, I will, ask you to start off with the discussion. The first question, what we want to understand from you is, what is the state government of Karnataka plan for cluster development, and what kind of, support is being provided?
Okay. So I have to speak in Kannada or English now?
English is better, sir.
Okay then. Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jagdish. I am CEO of TechSoc. So we, as a government side, we are interacting with all the cluster members, and first point, government is helping the formation of cluster. To make the cluster, we have to make a SPV, that is special purpose vehicle. Special purpose vehicle will be in the form of Section 8 company under Companies Act 2013. That is a mandatory item. We need minimum 20 MSMEs, overall similar in nature. That is, they are producing the similar product. That is one condition. After that, we provide software intervention to the members of the cluster members, and we are helping to form a Section 8 company. Government is providing some funds for the preparation of project report also. That is, TechSoc is taking up this preparation of DPR. That is detailed project report for the cluster development. Already we have taken up around 30 clusters. It is on the way. We are preparing almost 30 clusters details. So government is providing for the cluster. Government of India will sanction up to 20 crore project. In the 20 crore project, Government of India will provide 70% of the project cost, and remaining 20% will be provided by the Government of Karnataka, and remaining 10% has to be provided by the cluster members. So this way we are going to help the projects. So Government of Karnataka will provide 20% of the project cost. That is the one help we are giving to Karnataka. And the Government of Karnataka is helping in preparation of DPRs, formation of companies under Section 8 companies. This is what we are providing to the cluster members.
Right. So are there, specific products or specific areas that you target, or is it across any sector?
No, it is no specific product. We can take any product. You take in Ramnagara, we have come up with a printing cluster. In Electronic City, we have come up with the electronic cluster. If you go to Bijapur, we have made a rising cluster, that is dry grapes. So we can do any type of clusters. There is no specific or restrictions in the cluster.
Can I talk 2 minutes?
Right.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, Mr. Gopinath,
Yeah, good morning, sir.
thank you for joining. Good morning.
Sir.
Yeah, good morning, Mr.
Sir,
Gopinath.
sir,
So,
Guru Prasad.
the question
Guru Prasad.
directed at you is,
Guru Prasad.
yes, please tell me.
Just give me 15 minutes till that other faculty will take because I have to take in vote on Parliament Constitution Day today.
Oh, okay,
I have to take a vote
sure,
there.
sir.
I'll
Okay,
address to all my employees, I mean my
okay,
officers. I'll come back. Till that,
okay.
let the other faculty will take and then join you. Okay?
Sure. Thank
Will
you.
be on the line. Okay. Thank you. Sorry for disturbance.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. So, meanwhile, when Mr. Gopinath joins, I would want to get your opinion, Mr. Ramesh Dharmaji. Hello.
Yes,
Mr.
yes,
Ramesh
tell me.
Dharmaji. Yeah,
Yes.
So, what is the kind of funding support that a person can expect for the cluster development from SIDBI? Especially
See-
considering that cluster, I mean, and also your experience in terms of how the clusters are developed and what are the pros and cons of having this model.
See, SIDBI since the last 35 years has been focusing a lot for the MSME development. One of the area is providing promotion and development activities for development of clusters. And the second one is supporting them in terms of financing, providing finance to individual units and also the cluster associations or cluster organizations which are set up. For example, I can give you one small thing. In near Ahmedabad, there is one cluster of industries. So the entire roads, sanitation, infrastructure in that industrial estate was more than 40, 50 years old. So about 8 years back, we funded the entire thing to a SPV which is formed so that they upgrade it and they become globally competitive, because most of the people there were export-oriented units. Similarly, across the country, we have been supporting clusters. You can say Tirupur clusters, the Ludhiana cluster, Faridabad clusters. So cluster we provide it in so many ways. One is we provide infrastructure support wherever it's required. We strengthen the industry associations by providing governance mechanism. Their IT infrastructure we upgraded, creating infrastructure for their own office. For example, in Pinia Industrial Estate, I mean in Bangalore and Kasia, we gave them for their office buildings. Similarly, so many other places. So that is the second thing is we help the industry association. The third thing is the individual units we support them, and these units are supported on cluster basis. See, SIDBI is not a normal bank. So we take an issue and focus on those kind of a specific kind of a problem. Initially, we did for quality control. We encouraged all the clusters to take up ISO 9000 certification or quality awareness programs we did. Subsequently, we told them about, setting up, environment projects. For example, in Tirupur, the entire cluster came to a halt after the Green Tribunal of the government of Tamil Nadu, when the High Court of Tamil Nadu passed a thing that you cannot pollute the place. So SIDBI came and supported 8 common effluent treatment plants and lifted the whole sector as such. Similarly, for example, in Faridabad, in Ludhiana, in Agra cluster, we help them to the foundry units to upgrade the technology so that they are not closed. Same thing happened in Howrah cluster. And in Howrah cluster, again, there is a leather unit. We help them set up a separate factory about 30 kilometers from the city. Whole infrastructure we help them create. So SIDBI provides mostly in the form of loans and sometimes in the form of soft loans or grants, which is very less. Okay. If we have some funding from external agency, we will do it. So, and for example, yes.
Mr. Ramesh, your voice is echoing a bit.
Yeah, what to do? I also feel the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Shall I go and come back again?
No.
I'll do one
Are you
thing.
on
Came to use
speakerphone?
device.
Yeah.
I think you
Or
can
shall I
just
remove the
use the.
speakerphone? Okay.
Yeah, right.
Can you hear me now?
Ask him to
Is
use
it now echoing?
camera.
Sorry? Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, this is better. Okay.
It is better. So, for example, you see, energy efficiency is one of the things we discovered. Here also, I think still echoing is going on. Can I do one thing? I'll
Yeah.
exit and come back again.
Yeah, sure.
No, actually, you need to reduce your volume, speaker volume.
I think
It's
he'll join again. Yeah. So, like Mr. Ramesh was, talking about the kind of, the help that the
You should use
government
camera,
and also from the
microphone.
SIDBI angle. Is my voice also echoing? Hello.
Your voice also is echoing.
Yes, there is also echo.
Oh, okay. I'm really sorry
Actually,
about
you
that.
need to reduce your speaker volumes. Speaker is very high volume, your speakers.
Okay. Is it better
So
now?
reduce the speaker volume.
Yeah. Mr. Ramesh, you can continue.
Yeah. So now, see, for example, energy efficiency, MSMEs basically, are not very energy efficient companies. They don't bother. And the point is, energy efficiency adds directly to the profit line, profit margins, to bottom line. So SIDBI did a lot of programs in clusters like Faridabad, Ludhiana, Jaipur, Ahmedabad, for supporting these people for helping doing energy audits, energy measures for upgrading their systems. So these are some of the things SIDBI has taken, apart from providing loans for various kinds of equipment, latest equipments to the units in the clusters. And most important is, SIDBI always has your office in every cluster so that they can focus on the cluster. Second question you asked me is, what is my experience with respect to this cluster development initiatives? One thing is, I've seen that, Government of India has been coming out with a lot of projects, lot of support. Crores of rupees are being given. In fact, when I was heading the Delhi office, I was on all the committees which were sanctioning funds to these kind of SPVs. For example, the foundry unit has one, textile unit has one, garment unit has one, all these kinds of but my experience is, and I have also feedback from the government, is that most of these common facility centers become redundant after some time. They stop being used. They are not very effective. They are not very, they are just, if you ask me today in the country, if you do a survey, a lot of such clustered kind of common CFCs, that is called common facilitation centers or whatever you say, is not doing well, or they are functioning much below their optimum level. So this is basically my. So how do we use the existing facilities which are there, revitalize them rather than creating new facilities? Yeah.
Right. So, really very valuable information from somebody who's been there and been part of clusters for a long time. So something for us to take home about. Now I would ask Miss Anita Pradeep, who's actually in a live cluster, cotton cluster in Bellary. Miss Anita, are you able to hear us? Miss Anita? Miss Anita, are you able to hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We're able to hear you. A question to you is, what are the challenges that an entrepreneur faces in getting into this cluster? Because you are already part of this live cluster, so you can also, if you want, walk us through some of the experiences.
Yes. Yeah. Namaste, everyone. I am Anita Pradeep. I've been doing this consulting and advising, mentoring MSME cluster projects last 10 years. Can you hear? Everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear you.
Yeah, I've successfully implemented over 10 clusters and now again working more than 15 clusters in and around Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh. And today I'm in Bellary. I just want to show you, like, can you guys see these cottons? Yeah.
Miss Anita, your video has been disabled. I think there is.
I can see that.
You are able to see? Okay, okay, great.
Yeah, I
Please
can
continue,
see.
please
Yes,
continue.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, we are
Yes,
able to see.
yeah.
Okay.
So my team normally we intervene where there is a cluster, whatever cluster, maybe it's a food processing or technology or cotton, whatever, we intervene from the grassroots level and we study their challenges. What are the challenges entrepreneurs are facing, which is very important in our country, which any business running is not so easy. And we are the MSMEs normally in this COVID situation. So whatever the situation come, we stand for our employees. And MSMEs are one the thing, they don't just like corporate normally happens, they won't take out, and they take care of bread and butter of lot of families. It's not extended families. Each and MSME, one MSME unit, I say they will have so much extended family kind of relationship we will have. Okay, this is cotton cluster. What I'm going to give you example today, where we are doing project validation meeting. MSME director is available here, and Bellary is known for cotton. They grow cotton here, and you can see all this cotton. And they normally there is one process called cotton ginning. There is over 75 ginning mills in Bellary, and the ginning is a process. They separate cotton seed from the cotton. Okay, they clean it and they make a bale. This bale is taken to the Tirupur, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, and there is no spinning mill here. The basic challenge is, I just like to start. Okay, I just forgot. I want to start morning when I came here around 8:30. I saw the face of entrepreneurs were little pale. I was just worried what happened. There is a fire. There is a fire in the one of the ginning industry, and most of the around 3,500, 3,50,000 bale has been burnt. So each and every bale is around clean 170 kgs cotton in each and every bale. Okay, everyone, these are the challenges ground level, they cannot expose to others. So this is one basic challenge I saw today morning. And okay, come to the next level. These bales will go to the Tamil Nadu, and I have gone through them to the Tirupur spinning mills. They are not allowed to go inside the mill. They have to talk to agent and sell. After spending so much money on transport, going to around 700 kilometers from here, you are not allowed to get into the mill. You have to talk to agent, and through agent you have to sell. This is a major challenge they are facing. Okay, since we don't have any spinning mill in Karnataka, where in Bellary is a major cotton industry. Okay, that's one major challenge all these ginning mills are facing. Okay, come to the second level, where they produce so much cotton and they clean the cotton. End of the day, all the weavers have to buy yarn from Maharashtra or Gujarat somewhere. They don't have yarn locally available. That's why this generation, most of the power looms, handlooms, they stop working. They look for a job, or they go to the city for a 10,000-15,000 rupees job, because they're not able to afford to buy yarn. And when the end product won't be, when they sell, there is a very lean margin on that, So what we studied, we understood this. There is a need of a spinning mill here. Okay, that is one part. Other part is there is some absorbent cotton manufacturing, small units here. They are buying, though they grow cotton here, they are buying waste cotton, bleached cotton from Gujarat, Surat, to make absorbent and surgical cotton here. See, where there is a 25% cotton is getting waste, you can see in this 25% cotton will go waste. These cotton, they just use it for normal bedsheet, or throw it and dump it as a dust. Okay, and they're buying bleached cotton from Gujarat to make produce the absorbent medical cotton here. And what we studied here, if we have set up common facility center for them for a bleaching of a cotton, they can produce lot of value addition from this product, like, you know, wet mask, surgical bed, lot of cotton, whatever birds, cotton balls, you know, lot of young entrepreneurs can come in here and start small MSME unit there, so that whole ecosystem will uplift. And as everyone know, I think almost the whole world know that this Bellary is famous for jeans. Around 1,000 crore turnover happens every year here, only producing men jeans. Okay, they are very focused on men jeans. And you know, they produce cotton here and they buy the fabric from Surat. This is the situation. Again, there's a lot of agents and logistics. You know, this is a challenge these guys are facing here. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Hope you guys are listening.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. These kind of challenges, you know, the one is
Right.
we need forward and
Correct. Yeah.
yeah.
So you know, I would actually thank you know, Anita ma'am for the kind of you know, this, work that she's doing, and also it's our you know, kind of I would say a fortune that we are able to catch her live at the cotton cluster and understand the kind of you know, base root and the root level problems that these people are facing, and the reason that the cluster is required to help them with these kind of difficulties. Thank you, Anita ma'am. And I would now ask Mr. Kishore, who's been, you know, involved with the cluster development activities, and particularly with the agricultural agri corridor, which is a model of a vertical cluster integration. And you know, he's been part of it, working along with the government of Karnataka. So, Mr. Kishore, with this regard, can you please, you know, throw some light on this, you know, model?
Yeah, thank you, Guru Prasad. We have done a lot of study in the last 1 decade on all the clusters across the country and across the world, especially in the emerging markets in the Asian economies, and how the cluster development supported by the international organizations have responded. We found that while the study was going on, that most of these clusters are horizontal clusters, and like, for example, if you open an apparel park, then all the people around who are putting their shop there are all apparel manufacturers and are in apparel business. So now typically what happens, if there is a sort of a policy change or something that happens in the market dynamics, then the entire cluster goes for a toss, because everyone is doing the same thing. It is like a homogeneous gathering. So what we discovered is the ones which are able to survive and able to face the test of the time are more related to vertical clusters, where there is an interdependent economy that is created in a cluster, where there is a packaging also, processing also, and the sourcing of the raw material also, all put together, combined together, creating a local economy. Now, if you look at that as a model that is more coming into the vertical cluster, where if there is certain dynamics or any kind of impact, or so, you know, economic changes or any kind of external changes, that component which is being impacted gets replaced by something you know, as an alternative, and the economy is protected. The economy continues to survive and continues to thrive. So if you see the decline of Tirupur, and also if you see the way Surat cluster got impacted, all these have the dynamics of homogeneity there, and over a period of time, the cost of what you know, the margins that they are bringing out as a low cost factor slowly gets eroded, because the labor cost keeps increasing over a period of time, and when they become specialized as a center, the labor cost and various other allied costs increase the value proposition. Therefore, it no longer becomes a viable business option. So therefore, vertical cluster helps in balancing and becoming a equation dynamics around this thought process. So with this idea, we worked on the agriculture corridor, and we have been working in Karnataka from the corridor has been that is designed on the parallel of the economic corridor. So it runs from Chamarajanagar to the following territories, that Chamarajanagar, Bangalore Rural, Tumkur, Chitradurga, Davangere, Hubli, Belgaum, and then finally connects to Kolhapur market. So therefore, this entire belt is river fed, and we are trying to focus on creating agricultural clusters here, where small innovations, small entrepreneurs all come together, put their shop, and they are able to support each other and create local economies. And with this, all the innovations that are happening to support this, like for example, if I talk about cold storage, there are a lot of cold storage solutions that are available within the range of let's assume the 10 feet to 20 feet cold storages, which helps in addressing the problems of the marginalized group of farmers and also the business owners. And if you look at the food parks, the same thing will cost about 3 crores or 10 crore investment to do the same thing and give the same solution. So we are trying to bring low cost solutions all put together and create a corridor along this belt. And this is the entire modeling is on the vertical cluster. So it will have funding options, it will have market integration options, it will have also local solutions created for technology at a very, very low end cost. That's the concept of agriculture corridor.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Kishore, for the kind of understanding that you have given on on a different take on the corridor concept, which you personally have been involved and also played a large part in developing this cluster program. The next set of questions, I would keep it open to the entire panel, and I would one of the questions that keep coming to anybody's mind is, is it that, what are the kind of requirements that are, that should be met in order to make a cluster? Is it that the government only can do it, or is it a group of companies can come together and start off with a cluster? Since you have, started off, Mr. Kishore, I would like your opinion on that, and then I would ask the other panelists as well.
As far as I can understand here, see, cluster formation is a freedom of choice made by entrepreneurs on their own for creating the feeling of samudaya, and in the samudaya, how you can create a better version of the competencies of all the strengths put together. It is a coming of the entrepreneurs as a community spirit. Now, in this spirit, while you are working on a collective model, various challenges that are faced in the growth of the organization, the market connect, and various challenges that comes in implementation of the business idea is shared as a risk, and there is shared leadership, right? And in that process, a lot of things get solved, and where as a solo entrepreneur, I need to repeatedly get into again and again. So therefore, there is a freedom of choice of what selection I can make. There's also the collectiveness of the customers who come to buy also get a choice of quality process. They get a choice of quantity process and volume business. And at the same time, the financial institution also find it much easier to relate to something like this, where there is a sort of a collective collective capital being created. So therefore I think the government policy and the government support is only to encourage in that direction, because the future of this country lies in the economic recovery in a cluster development approach.
Right.
We have to give away the thought process of the old models. We have to reconstruct it based on the emerging market trends and emerging market needs, and learn from the past experience of cluster development.
Right. Mr. Ramesh, a question for you. Some really, hard-hitting words from Mr. Kishore. The community spirit, the samudaya, and the collective, financial responsibility. So I would like to understand from your end, Mr. Ramesh, what is the kind of, support that the government can give, and also, how a cluster can be self-sustainable.
Yeah, so actually what Kishore said is very correct. If you see, I have worked in a number of clusters where the people themselves have taken initiative, formed, and then if you see, take the case of Tirupur, which is a very classic and very vibrant cluster, you will see everything. Once they feel that something is going wrong, they will do it themselves. Of course, they will get support. For example, I will tell you, they made this, as I said, the processing units. We had the common effluent treatment plant. They came together, left their differences around. They are all competing with each other, but still, when they know that the cluster survives, they survive. Similarly, for a marketing, they set up a marketing center. Similarly, in Coimbatore, Siddhi again helped them to set up a huge marketing platform, exhibition center. So like that, in Bangalore, I don't know how many of you remember, there was one Clicktronica, and there, ages back, Siddhi supported them to form a marketing cluster to help them. So they came together, they set up, shops in Sri Lanka and so many other places. So, like he said, the spirit of togetherness, if they come together, a lot of things can happen. And government will definitely help. Government has got a lot of schemes. Government and institutions are like SIDBI, NABARD, okay, and multilateral institutions are there, which will come and help. The only thing that is required is a cohesiveness that has to come together, find a cause, make a viable kind of proposal, and take it forward. So this is what I feel. For example, I'll tell you one thing. In Faridabad, for example, the electrical industries there, they came together and they said we will form a SPV for procurement of materials, parts and all at very competitive rates so that our people can benefit from it. So there was institutional support for it. So there is a lot of scope for self-help, and also once self-help starts, many institutions will come across to help you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, perfectly, sir. So you have also, kind of, given us some glimpses of Clicktronica and, things that were, I think some of the people in the present generation might not even have heard of, right? So since Mr. Gopinath is now back, I would want to ask you, Mr. Gopinath, what is the kind of, schemes that the cluster development initiative is having, and what are the kind of criteria that somebody has to meet to get into this cluster development program?
So, good morning to all of you. First of all, I should say sorry for not joining in time. Constitution Day that we have to take it in office. And I thank Mr. Kishore Jagirdar and his team for organizing this wonderful program, and also the TechSA. The main the point here is the cluster development program, which you are all interested in to know what are the conditions, what are the procedure to go for clusters. Today's scenario, most of our MSMEs during pre-COVID, we had wonderful response and it was going well. Around 80 clusters across India, we are already is functioning well. Still, it is functioning well, no problem. and some more on pipeline now. The cluster, my main concept of cluster is to promote the group of industries in which is having common facility centers. Industries which need a common facility centers, individually which cannot be done by investing money, huge money, and the group can be done. So that when you start a common facility center which is common cause, for example, there may be R&D research training centers or a testing centers or a training centers, anything which is common for all the group of industries. So in that case, the cluster, the group of coming together for a common cause, it becomes a very useful one. So, for example, examples are all already you are all aware of that. So here the MSMEDI, it started the cluster development program almost 15 years back, and doing with our programs across India, and main the supporting the MSMEs through this cluster is one of the main scheme which our MSME ministry is functioning well, and we are now focusing even rural area also, because the artisans which they need constant support, that is also become one of the main area where we have to put them under our cluster programs through artisans, many other MSME schemes. Here the cluster development which we are talking about today is how to use the MSME, our MSME ministry scheme. You know, it's a minimum, if we are 20 and above units, micro and small units, having these similar products or services in the same group, more than 20, minimum, if the more than 20 is very good, really. There we provide a financial grant up to 20 crores, maximum limit to 70% of the project cost, and where the 25% remaining percentage will includes the areas like land cost, building cost, so other accessory supports which the cluster need, where the even our cost of the land, it should not exceed 25% of the total cost, because remaining 70% will come from the government fund, government side. So in that case, this exclusively which are the manufacturing or sector, the machineries, the machinery portion can be taken under 70%. Example, we have our electronic clusters in Bangalore, printing clusters in Bangalore. So these two clusters, now we are provided purely on in machineries. The remaining, the building and the land, they all been taken care by the SPV. So before that, the similar MSME micro small units, so who are interested to come together as a one to utilize this scheme, they must start on SPV, that is special purpose vehicle, maybe interest a company, anything, under Section 8 Act. So where the profit and losses can be whatever thing the profit you gain after when you start functioning in the CFC, that can be again be invested back to the system. So here the government intention is to see how the CFC goes faster. I mean, now sustainability is very important here. Once you start, the sustainability is very important, because the working capital, see, initially the government supports through investment on plant and machinery, whereas once the CFC start functioning, it needs a constant funding support. So in that cases, so they have to do a lot of training programs, new awareness programs, just like our how electronic cluster is functioning well. So like that, the various ways and means we have to adopt to make the CFC sustainable. So that is the one, especially in the case of, if you see in Delhi, the Okla Industrial Garment Cluster is doing plus almost 10 years over, now still doing very well. So like that, how one particular cluster grows, and that needs a dedicated group of entrepreneurs, that only the cluster can success. So here, the selection of the members or units, if they come together, is very important, because once they decide to come under the cluster net, so it should work for a long time. It should not be in a short term visit, it's a long term vision. So here the cluster development, once you get registered under the Section 8 company, then it will be taken in the state government for the state level selection committee through our state government nodal agency like KCTU, Karnataka Council for Technology Upgradation. That is a nodal agency. Then it will be put up for the our state level clearing committee, that is led by the principal secretary. So in that, once the committee clears the approval comes state level, then it will go to national level, our DCMSME technical and clearing committee. Once the technical clear committee approves, so it will go for again the DPR validation by the CBD, that is to be done. Again, after that, once it is done, in principle approval will come from the DCMSME. So once it is in principle approval starts, so you will get the bank account, everything you have to open it, bank account for the SPV. So these are all the basic things what the cluster needs. So, and in the meantime, what are the selection of missionaries that requires for the cluster? It is through only this e-portals. All should be in e-portals, and the proper, tripod agreement should be done between the center, the KCTU, and the SPV. That's all required document-wise. So if you take the now it is the right time for industries to go for the cluster implementations, because the cost wise, if you see, many of the MSMEs are facing a shortage of funding for support. In that case, as this cluster based is important, where the cost comes down to minimum level, so everybody can share it. So benefits will be more through common costs. So commonly they can go for purchasing of any raw materials or procurement of machineries or any services they want to avail from the customer, technical services they want. So in that case, with the minimum investment, they can avail the benefit. So that is the main area where the cluster development becomes really important. So, and already we have started some more clusters in Bangalore, and North Karnataka also, our MSMEDI Woodley, they are also taking care for implementing the cluster development programs. And through this, your organization, industry association, if they come forward, definitely we can take it further and make the industries more aggressive in their businesses. Because right now it is important what I feel.
Right. Yeah, it's been a very exhaustive list that you have given. Right from the conceptualization of a cluster to the entire how to implement it and how the group of people have to go about doing it, and also some encouraging words saying that people can come join together and then approach the government. There is obviously a lot of help that the government is providing, and a lot of back end work that is required in terms of setting up these clusters. Thank you for that. I would now ask Mr. Jagdish to help us. Mr. Jagdish, are you able to hear us? Hello? Yeah, Mr. Jagdish?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Jagdish, are you able to hear us? Since you are, part of the technical committee and also, try to, start off right from the detailed project report to the market research. So would you be able to help us with understanding, what kind of market linkages, advantages that a cluster can get?
So cluster is a group activity. If they make a cluster, they can bargain with the market. That is the advantage they get it from the cluster market, because if 20 individuals are there, individuals cannot bargain with the market. If the cluster is there, group of people, they can pose a problem to them, so they can create very good market in this sector, I think so. That is a way we can help them. And then what is the thing is common facility center, and they can make it even for the marketing sector also. They can form this cluster. They can utilize this cluster for other product, because in the cluster they can give more product to the market. If individually you can produce 100, if 20 clusters are there, they can produce 2,000 products. the same item. Then they will have more margins also. That way they can get the help in the marketing sector.
Right, right. So what you're hinting at is collective bargaining power increases when the industries come together and form the cluster, and also
Yes.
they're able to market their products much better.
Yes.
Right, right. Miss Anita, Miss Anita, are you able to hear us? Hello. Yeah, Miss Anita. I think you're on mute. Miss Anita. Yeah. Miss Anita, so I know you are part of another meeting as well at this point.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I really thank you for taking part in this panel discussion as well. Just an understanding of how women entrepreneurship can benefit by the cluster program.
Yeah, see, when we set up common facility center, see, the main problem is like, no, they won't be able to afford. There's a limitation on everything. When we go for a loan, maybe we initially plan for to set up a whatever processing system in MSMEs, maybe 25 lakh, 50 lakh. We need to upgrade. There we won't be able to afford those kind of machineries. When we have common facility, we can go and take a service and upgrade our product. That's a major plus point setting of a common facility center. Hello.
Yeah. So what you're hinting at is even a woman entrepreneur who is wanting to set up something can make use of this cluster common facilities and reduce the initial capex.
Yes. Actually, this is a major one more challenge. What I see in MSMEs, where I go around all over India, not even 1% women come forward to set up these kind of manufacturing industries. So I go and talk to them. What is the problems? They have that mind block. They should come out of that mind block. There's no land in my name. It's in my husband's name. It's my father's name, brothers. This is all old set of mental set. It's quite hard to come out of that. And even today where I am sitting, we are having validation meeting. Just I came out not even one women entrepreneur. There's a lot of women entrepreneurs should come out. There is a lot of support from government. In fact, from MSME they are asking me to set up 100% women entrepreneurs cluster CFC. A lot of women has to come out. They have to come out. Now, how much government can spoon feed them?
Right. So we have also seen a lot of work by Ms. Ratna Prabha, who was very key in promoting the women entrepreneurship park in Harold in Kanakpura as well. So
Yes.
like how you said, the government is doing a lot of bit on its part, but now it is up to the women to come out and showcase that they can also set up MSMEs.
Yes. That is a major challenge for them to come out of open their mind block and come out and work on that. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm planning one of it's in a basic stage. Once it come to certain level, I'll expose to government, MSME. If I'm planning one of the food park, major on coconut product. I'm taking all women entrepreneurs because what I've seen in coastal Karnataka, every house has got at least 50 coconut trees. So they own that coconut, normally that is a pocket money for women. They sell the coconut and make money, and they make oil out of that and make money. So where I see there is a small potential for them, I kind of did some of trust building activities, capacity building activities to them. I'm expecting some good result to come out of that. At least set me one example. I wanted to bring one example and show everyone that they can also do. From rural women can do this. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of support too.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah, sorry, can I take a break there?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sure. I know you are
Thank
part
you.
of the, the
Yes,
other conference as well.
Yes.
Thank you for participating in this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Guru Prasad, can I add something point here?
Yeah. Please go ahead, sir.
See, we have once the cluster development gets approved, And once it starts functioning, no, we have got some other support from the government of India, that is of the ministry. Once the common facilities is set and start functioning, and there are other facilities like marketing, setting up of marketing hub or a exhibition center by the association or the SPV. So the government will know in that case, grant 60% of the cost of the project. That is around 10 crore is the project cost, and specific for a product specific association with the SMO rating like gold category level. In that case, no, if they want to market their products, a separate exhibition centers can be set up with the maximum support of 60% grant can be given up to maximum of 10 crore. 80% in the case of women entrepreneurs. So this is for exclusive for marketing their products. Another one, we have thematic interventions where the selected clusters, CFC clusters, are allowed to have activities on various activities like training programs or exposure visit to many other clusters, or strengthening their business development activities, or inviting some faculties and then organizing some programs through service providers. So any related activities, no, mainly it can be added. So in this case, the functioning, the support up to 2 lakh rupees per each activity will be given. Maximum to 5 activities can be restricted to 10 lakhs. So this is a thematic intervention also been announced. And another one is the support to state innovative cluster development programs. So whatever the state government supports, see, some of the state governments across India, they also started founding cluster development programs. In that cases, the state government, the matching grant up to 5 crores will be provided for the PFC projects. For example, in Karnataka, we have a cluster development program of the state government also. In that case also, we are going to fund equal matching amount. So these all the action has been taken from the ministry side, and it's really interesting that all industries, they come together. I think this will become easy for the industries to take the advantages. This is what we are edit.
Yeah. Right. So very encouraging words, both from the ground level as well as from the policy making level. That cluster is the way to go forward. Of course, we do have a lot of questions that have come up. So I would now ask Mr. Kishore if you can take this question. So it is basically by Ms. Anita. And also one more question by Ms. Sharmili. So basically, they're looking to see, what is the kind of encouragement, or what is the kind of, what is your view in terms of 2 chains? One is Jaggery value chain, basically for Jaggery related products, and also the other one is for banana fiber, related kind of products.
Yeah, see, for Jaggery, what we have found is that 78% of the value chain is added more by the farmers and the farmers themselves, who are the processors also, and largely and then a bit of say about 18% of the value chain has been value added by wholesalers. Now, what comes here is largely it is dependent on the taste and also on the color of the Jaggery. The processing has a lot to play with the creation of the value chain, because the moment you see the taste and also the color, there itself, the decision making, changes a lot. So therefore, these stuffs have to be a little bit more focused and organic Jaggery, because there were a lot of reports of people using chemicals and additives which were not permissible, and since there is no regulatory body that governs in the rural sector at the premise level, there were a lot of such spurious jaggery incidents that were reported across Karnataka and North Karnataka especially. So therefore, there's a conscious movement of people moving into organic jaggery. And also I would like to, on behalf of TechSoc also, I would like to just mention, and with kind permission from Gopinath Rao also, that in Karnataka there has been a very specific focus on each region having some kind of unique proposition or a selling point in terms of what they would like to build as a cluster. And so therefore, along with that, jaggery is also a part of the value chain creation, and that is especially organic jaggery, and it adds a lot of supplementary income also to towards the cluster development thought process. So that is one aspect of it. Then the banana fiber part here, yes, there are a lot of other byproducts that are coming out of the banana fiber. There are fabric making out of banana fiber. Then there are various even there are materials that have been created for packaging and various other stuff out of banana fiber. So therefore, what I see in the question here is that they want to connect on taking it forward. So I think surely Anita and myself, we can assist on this, since we are working on each district in Karnataka, all the 30 districts in Karnataka. Each district we have a selective cluster planning offering, and along with that we can add this also as part of the strategy, and we can post this event, support you in trying to take it up and assist you in making it work.
Perfect. So thank you, Mr. Kishore, for the ability to support these programs. So I hope that answers your question, Ms. Sharmili and Ms. Anita. The next one is by Ms. Soumya Kulkarni. Basically, they want to understand how to approach the training programs and that the industries are giving, especially for the women entrepreneurs. I think Ms. Anita would have been a better person to answer this, but since she's busy with this one, I would ask Mr. Gopinath Rao, would you be able to throw some light? Are there any specific training programs for women entrepreneurs?
See, training programs we are offering in various sectors, like maybe garment line, apparel sectors, and then the chemical products or mechanical, and they related to computer based item in that cases, and then another like tying up with the private NGOs, and then our training centers. We are organizing a lot of training programs and also online sessions nowadays going on. So which type of training they need, it has to be specified. Then only we can tie up with them. Even food processing, sometimes we also join with AWAKE, and then we are doing a lot of training programs. They are also doing food based on food products. So in that case, specifically what type of training they need, and what is their background, and in terms of educations or other parameters, we have to look into that. So then only we can able to identify and advise them. And
can I add to this?
Yes.
So Laghu Udyog Bharati, which is a movement which is happening, they are doing a lot of programs in support with the state government across the almost all the districts for women entrepreneurs. And of course, as Gopinath has mentioned about the AWAKE also doing such a program, because they are focused largely on the food processing industry. And at the same time, TechSoc also is running a lot of programs. Every 15 days they are doing EDP programs, and they are also running programs for women entrepreneurs. So any of these programs they can probably attend, and they can collect the information. If they don't have access to that information, they can connect your good office. Guru Prasad, you can connect with them so that we can assist and disseminate this information.
Sure. Then I would.
Mr. Guru Prasad, one gentleman, Vishal Kudari, what is this? He is on this.
Guru Prasad.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we will obviously have some, kind of personal related questions, but we can take that offline. We can discuss and we can take that offline. That is not an issue.
But Mr. Jagdish, would you be able to tell some, kind of programs that the
Yeah, yeah.
entrepreneurs can have?
We regularly we conduct enterprise development programs for women as well as others also. There is no age bar also. So if they want to get the training, they can get registered with our website, TechSark website. If they go to TechSark website, www.tecsok.com, TechSark website. So there we will find the application for EDP. If they register there, we will definitely will provide the training for them. Okay.
Okay. And these training programs are conducted like monthly once or?
Regularly we conduct, monthly twice we will conduct.
Oh, okay.
It's a cycle of 15
Yeah,
days.
so I hope. Okay, great. Yeah, so we will be sharing the name of the website, which it is actually TechSark. Yeah. I think one question to Mr. Ramesh Dharmaji, what are the kind of challenges that people generally face when they come for, MSME related loans?
Yeah. So basically, the challenges is on both sides of the spectrum, both sides of the table. When the MSME entrepreneur comes, he is very rarely prepared. He doesn't do his background. He or she doesn't know their background. They don't know the sector. They don't know the market. They don't know what are the competitors. So they just want to set up. Most of the times, they get ideas from somewhere and start working on that. So I would suggest is if you want to go for a loan, do a lot of preparation, do a lot of homework. Study the market, because the opposite side, a banker, and he is responsible or he's the custodian of public money. He is not going to give away free, or he's not going to simply, because he is also responsible. There is fiduciary responsibility for him. So he will be very careful. So you have to be very careful when you go there and discuss. The first part. Second part is most of the MSMEs, most of the banks want to support MSMEs, and the government, the RBI, their own head offices, they push the bankers to do that, and bankers are looking for good MSME proposals. So please do the homework and go do your. And then the last thing I want to see, in the last couple of months, I have spoken to more than 2,000 MSMEs to help them, as a part of some initiative. What I find is when they go for a loan, they just go once, and then that fellow say Nalaba or something like that, tomorrow you come or later on, they get very disenchanted and disappointed. It's not done. When somebody is giving you lakhs of rupees, he's going to take time. He's not going to just come because you have got a good idea and suddenly you will give. So you have to have a lot of patience, and the whole game of entrepreneurship is you need patience. I've seen the people who are patient get it, and the bankers also test sometimes how committed he is to come and take the loans. So I would say the whole ecosystem is trying to support entrepreneurship. The whole ecosystem is trying to promote MSMEs. So we have to be, and the bankers are also being coached and regularly monitored by their controlling authorities. So I would say is you have to do your homework and go. So I feel the loans will come. And second thing is, what happens is most of the people start fresh and then they don't have banking records. I would suggest, because nowadays banks all go for civil score and so many they want a track record. So I would suggest once you start the company, even if you're doing well, after a couple of years, to start a relationship with the bank, take a small limit and have a credit kind of history, so that when you want really money, it helps. One classic example I'll give you last one. Recently, when the government introduced the 20% emergency loan to the MSMEs, a lot of units came to me and they said, I'm not getting any money. I said, why you're not getting money? Do you have a bank limit? He said, no, I don't have a bank limit. So the scheme is only meant for people who have, and what happened was, bankers were helping MSMEs, but people who didn't have formal finance, bankers found it, they want to help their customers first and then look at the new customers. Because looking at new customers is always a challenge. So I would suggest MSMEs, please start even with a small banking limit, have patience, and then you scale it up. Even if you don't need a loan, to establish a relationship for future sake, have some kind of credit facility.
Right. Perfect. So I would now want to mention that we have a person from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam International organization, and it's really an honor to have you here. It's actually Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam's niece who has, who has been listening to this entire, webinar. It's an honor to have you here, ma'am. And I think you have raised your hand to ask a question. So is it something that you still have a question? Hello? I guess she's not able to hear us. But just to mention, she wanted to, hear the entire conversation, and also she had raised her hand to ask a question, but I guess she's not able to hear us.
I think she has left. She's not there in the call.
Yeah, I think she's not able to hear us. I think it has been a stellar conversation, and a lot of information that we have got right from Mr. Gopinath sir, who has been day in and day out part of the MSME DI initiative from the government sector, and also from Mr. Jagdish, who has been kind of trying to understand the entire market. Right from the market research to the detailed project report, and help the entrepreneurs, and also from Ms. Anita Pradeep, who has given us a live example of how we can use the cluster, and also Mr. Ramesh Dharmaji from the finance angle, how the clusters are sustainable and what kind of efforts are required. And of course, Mr. Kishore, from his entire experience of having set up clusters, not just the horizontal ones, but the vertical ones as well. It's been a very informative session for all of us here. I would now ask Mr. Nanda Kishore, who is the founder, member of the Vision Karnataka Foundation as well, to give us a vote of thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Guru Prasad, for arranging such a wonderful webinar. It is very insightful from both the entrepreneurs as well as the government perspective. To begin with, I thank Mr. Jagdish for giving various aspects about government schemes, which many of us don't know. We just blame the government, saying nothing is available. Like as Mr. Kudri said, we just go and bang. But as Mr. both Jagdish as well as Gopinath said, we have to have patience. And also Mr. Dharmaji said, the bankers may test our patience and see how acute we are, how serious we are. So couple of things which really matters for an MSME, instead of blaming the government or system, we should go along, with the flow and see where we, sit here and, are we eligible to get those kind of activities. Very insightful from these three people. And I also congratulate Anita, though she's in, in Ballari for the cotton cluster meetings, taking up some time to talk about us. And she's a very resourceful person because she's part of the VKF. I know her very well. Myself, Kishore and Anita work together. And if I have to say something, there's a huge potential in that lady. And because many people are asking how a woman entrepreneur can be supported. The live example is Anita, if I have to tell you. And she knows both the sides. She worked with the government, she worked with the MSMEs, she worked with women entrepreneurs. She has a lot of ideas. We should support, just taking an example of Anita, and we should support the ladies, who are coming forward nowadays. But the only thing is, as she rightly said, people are not coming forward. We don't know. Maybe through Anita or somebody else, there are many ladies who are in the panel. You can bring in those awareness and say, like, life is there for you, you can come forward and, so like this kind of webinar will help support us, not only for the men. I would like to say women can also be part of the system, provided they come forward, attend this kind of webinars, try to speak to people, and there's a conducive atmosphere for everybody nowadays. So starting from, I don't want to say, Mr. Modi and the Minister of MSME, the government of Karnataka, the people like Jagdish, You know, like I mean, we are closely working with Jagdish sir also. Like they are all there to help us. You know, but only thing is maybe we are not going and meeting them. You know, maybe we're putting a curtain around us saying that no, it's not happening. But there's a way. You know, as everybody is saying, you know, there's a way things have changed in India. That's what I am seeing, and we should go forward. You know, and many thanks to Gopinath sir for his on ground experiences, and you know the kind of training he's talking about. They're all, you know, like all practical. Now he's not talking in air. He's talking about you know what exactly happening, and how IEDS can help you know the movement in Karnataka. So very useful things, because when people hear these kind of discussions, we all get confident. You know, yeah, there are people who are supporting us. See, there's a Jagdish says the system, the government is to support us. Mr. Gopinath says that we are there to help you. Okay, and Kishore is there to support us from the global perspective, and you know, from different angles, because of he's a globetrotter, and you know, he can bring a lot of information, and you know, so like we have people in Karnataka who are you know supporting MSME movement, and we have the machinery, man machinery, who can be you know utilized properly. Okay, so and we have Guru Prasad who are organizing this kind of you know webinars. No, we need it's not a joke, I'm telling you. See, we need a platform. You know, see what happens sometimes we attend a lot of webinars and things like, you know, it will be a namesake, but you are you know a kind of a fulcrum wherein bringing people from all perspective. For example, if I look at numbers, 170 is around 90, 100. So I could see, you know, different perspective, government, public, private, trainers, entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, you know, stalwarts. Everybody is here on the platform. So you're doing a wonderful job, Guru Prasad. That I can tell you. Okay. So thanks everybody. It was a nice meeting, and let's try to meet up again in such platforms. And thanks everybody. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. And thank you all the panelists and the members who have taken part in this webinar. Any questions that you might have, our team will get back to you and try to, you know, make the interaction with the panelists if possible, as and when they are available. Thank you all.
Sure, thanks.